We all say we want to be happy. We chase it like a destination. We build lives around it. But what if the truth is far darker than we admit? What if deep down, some part of us doesn't want happiness at all? What if we are the ones constantly, quietly pulling the plug on our own peace without even realizing it? It starts early. Childhood. That's where the script is written. Maybe you were praised for being quiet, compliant, useful. Maybe love was given only when you achieved something, or when you hid what you really felt. Slowly, you learned that happiness wasn't something you deserved. It was something you had to earn. That joy was conditional. That if things got too good, something bad would follow. And so the blueprint was set. Happiness is dangerous. Now, fast forward. You get a new job. A relationship starts going well. You feel a glimpse of peace, of lightness, and then anxiety creeps in. A voice whispers, "This can't last. You don't deserve this. Something's going to go wrong." And before anything even happens, you start pulling back, ghosting someone who loves you, missing deadlines on purpose, starting fights over nothing. You don't know why you're doing it, but it feels familiar. This is self-sabotage. It's not laziness. It's not stupidity. It's a protection mechanism. Because somewhere in your history, your nervous system learned to equate happiness with danger, with abandonment, with disappointment. So now, even when you're safe, your brain is scanning for threats. Even when you've made it, some part of you is still bracing for impact. You might be thinking, "That's not me." But ask yourself this: have you ever pushed away a good person? Ever ruined a great opportunity at the last second? Ever procrastinated so long that you destroyed your own progress? That wasn't random. That was the subconscious dragging you back into the familiar, into struggle, into chaos. Because for some of us, suffering feels safer than success. Think about how many times you've almost been happy, and then pulled the emergency brake. We binge eat when we're doing well on a diet. We overspend right after saving money. We cheat on someone we love. We quit right before the finish line. It's not because we're broken. It's because we've been programmed to believe that happiness is either temporary or not meant for us at all. And society doesn't help. Everywhere you look, people are being taught to chase things that won't actually make them whole. Followers, likes, the illusion of success. But when you build your identity around performance, you become addicted to outcomes. And happiness becomes just another metric, another mountain, never a moment. And then there's guilt. That quiet, corrosive voice that says, "Who am I to be happy when others are suffering?" If you grew up around pain, abusive households, poverty, loss, you may carry a subconscious loyalty to suffering. You feel like betraying your roots if you rise above them. So you sabotage. You shrink. You stay in toxic environments out of guilt, not love. This is why many people feel restless when life gets calm. The peace feels uncomfortable, foreign. You start manufacturing drama to recreate the chaos you're used to. You pick fights, you overthink, you accidentally mess things up, because deep down, chaos feels like home. Happiness? That feels like an imposter in your house. But here's what most people don't realize. Self-sabotage is not self-hate. It's misguided self-protection. You're not trying to ruin your life. You're trying to protect yourself from perceived threats. The threat of vulnerability. The threat of abandonment. The threat of joy being taken away. So you take it away first. At least then, you're in control. And this is the twisted comfort of sabotage. It gives us the illusion of control. You can't be rejected if you leave first. You can't fail if you never try. You can't lose love if you never let anyone get close. But what you gain in control, you lose in depth, in connection, in meaning. The saddest part? Most of us don't even know we're doing it. We just call it bad luck, or say, "Things never work out for me." We blame others. We blame timing. But rarely do we look in the mirror and ask, "Am I the one standing in my own way?" Because sometimes the villain isn't your past. It isn't your ex. It isn't the system. Sometimes the villain is the part of you that believes you're not worthy of joy. And until you confront that part, no amount of success will feel safe. No relationship will feel secure. No peace will feel permanent.
But awareness is the beginning of liberation. Once you name the pattern, you can change it. Not overnight. Not with a single insight. But with repeated acts of self-compassion, of courage, of choosing discomfort over destruction. In the next part, we're going to dig deeper into how to break this cycle. How to rewire a mind that's addicted to sabotage. And how to build a life where happiness doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like your birthright. Because once you stop fearing happiness, you start living it. The first step in breaking free from self-sabotage is recognizing one painful truth. Most of us are living under the rules of a story we never consciously chose. A story written by the past, by parents who couldn't love us the way we needed, by teachers who measured our worth in grades, by religions or cultures that made guilt and shame the default emotions of being alive. We inherit these emotional blueprints, and then we live them out, generation after generation. But the only way to escape this narrative is to rewrite it. And rewriting begins with confronting the lie that you must suffer to be good, that you must earn rest, that joy must always be justified. Who told you that? Who taught you that happiness was a reward instead of a right? Because once you question the source, you begin to break the spell. And here's the raw truth most people never say out loud. Happiness is terrifying. Not because it's bad, but because it makes you vulnerable. When you feel joy, you're exposed. When you care, you can lose. When you love, you can be hurt. And for someone who's been hurt too often, it's easier to live behind walls. But those walls don't just keep out pain, they keep out life itself. So the real work is not just learning how to feel joy. It's learning how to feel safe in joy. That's why healing isn't just about therapy or journaling or watching videos. It's about retraining your nervous system to stop interpreting peace as a threat. That means sitting in stillness, even when you want to escape. Letting people love you even when you think they'll leave. Celebrating your wins without downplaying them. It's hard. It's unnatural at first. But it's necessary. You've got to teach yourself that happiness won't be stolen the moment you claim it. That not every high is followed by a crash. That sometimes things can go right, and it's not a trap. It's just life, unfolding without sabotage. But that's only possible when you stop treating happiness like a foreign language and start treating it like your native tongue. It's also time to drop the false badge of struggle. Somewhere along the way, we started idolizing pain. We started believing that the harder life is, the more real we are. We wear burnout like a medal. We romanticize brokenness. But pain doesn't prove your depth. Healing does. And being happy doesn't mean you're shallow. It means you've survived. And now, you're giving yourself permission to live. One of the most important things you can do is redefine what happiness actually means to you. Most people don't realize this, but their idea of happiness is still someone else's dream. A big house they don't need. A relationship they're not ready for. A version of success that leaves them empty. So of course they sabotage it, because deep down, it was never theirs. So ask yourself, what kind of life would I stop sabotaging? What kind of peace feels true to me? Because once you find that answer, you'll stop resisting it. The misalignment will dissolve. You won't need willpower to protect your joy. It'll protect itself, because it finally fits. And then there's self-worth. The ultimate root of sabotage. If you don't believe you're worthy of good things, you will find a way to destroy them. Period. No matter how many opportunities you're given, you'll ruin them. Not because you want to fail, but because failure confirms the identity you secretly believe is true. I'm not enough. That belief is a silent killer, and the only antidote is radical self-compassion. Radical self-compassion is not self-pity. It's not giving up. It's the daily decision to speak to yourself like someone you actually care about. It's not saying, I'm fine. It's saying, even if I'm not fine, I'm still worthy. It's understanding that your past doesn't disqualify you from peace. It simply gives your happiness more weight, more depth, more meaning. You also need to learn how to hold success without sabotaging it. For a lot of people, success is followed by a crash. Not because they failed, but because they never learned how to receive. We're trained to chase, to strive. But when we finally get what we want, we don't know what to do with it. It feels foreign. so we burn it down just to start the chase again. But true maturity is not just achieving, it's sustaining, holding joy, living in peace without calling it boring, letting things be good without waiting for the other shoe to drop. And that takes practice. You've got to train yourself to sit in gratitude, to let the moment be enough, to breathe in stillness like it's oxygen, not danger. The moment call vrades. The people who truly embody peace aren't lucky. They're intentional. They've stopped feeding their fear of happiness. They've cut ties with the narrative that says, "I'll be safe if I stay small." They've chosen to expand, even when it feels like a risk. And that expansion is available to anyone willing to do the inner work. But here's something even deeper. Sometimes we sabotage happiness because we think we don't have a right to change. If you've always been the caretaker, the failure, the funny one, the loner, you start to believe that's all you are. And the second you try to grow, your old identity fights back. It says, "That's not you." It pulls you back. Because familiarity is comfortable, even when it's painful.
So, healing becomes an identity crisis.
And that's why most people stop. But if you push through, if you let the old version of yourself die, you make space for something far more powerful. Rebirth. Not into a new person, but into your truest self. The one beneath the guilt, beneath the performance, beneath the pain. And when you get there, when you taste even a moment of happiness that you didn't have to fight for, you'll understand why the sabotage was never worth it. You'll look back at the chaos you once clung to and wonder how it ever felt like home. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You're not doomed to repeat your patterns forever. But you are responsible for noticing when sabotage shows up, for choosing differently, even when it feels terrifying, and for trusting that you're allowed to be happy, even if it feels unfamiliar. Because happiness isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new one. One where you're not constantly running, not bracing, not hiding. One where peace isn't a fluke. It's your foundation. And when you finally step into that space, not with guilt, but with grace, you realize something breathtaking. You were never afraid of happiness. You were afraid of losing it. But now you don't have to. Because it's no longer something you chase. It's something you carry. So, stop running. Stop sabotaging. And start listening to the quiet, insistent voice beneath the fear. The one that's been waiting for you to come home.